Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. And we appreciate you coming on with us as always. And it's always my pleasure to say hello to a few folks when we do our romper room roll call. And Brahim, you're numero uno. Manette, good morning. And Eric, bonjour. Andrea, Niagara Falls. Mike from Norland. And Rosalinda. And Fran, how are you, from Orangeville. Nick from our staff. And Kevin, good morning. Lori Lee, Ventura, California. Lily. And Francis Marie, good morning. Jerry, Nouveau-Brunswick. Bonjour, Sandra, Brampton. Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Chantal, Ottawa. Rosa, Montreal. And Ziane, Diane, Thunder Bay. Jeanette, bonjour. And Jeanette is back. Good. Hey, Barbara. Yolande. Bonjour. Linda. Oh, those Lindas. Cecilia. Good morning. Laurie from Waterloo. Deb from Motown, Detroit, Michigan. Sue, good morning. Manitoulin Island. And Robin, Connecticut. Veronica. And is that Karen? I think so. Coldwater. Tish in Ipperwash. Andrea, Nouveau-Brunswick. Lynn, Arlington, Minnesota. Mark from Guyana. How are you? Jeanette from our staff. Babika, Naperville. Maureen, Penticton, British Columbia. Donna from Park Hill. IT, Unionville. Betty Lynn, how are you? Arlene, good morning. And Olive, Oregon. Bev from Saskatchewan. Jean from Peterborough. Couple more. Rita, good morning. And Nellie, good morning. And May, St. Catharines, sunny St. Catharines. Sue. John from Elgin, Illinois. And Mary, Dorothy, good morning. And Gertie from Burlington. Susan, Bowmanville. Olga, New Brunswick, good morning. Barbara, see, I can see better this morning because of the background. Sharon, how are you? Karen, Peterborough. Diane from LaSalle. Jan, okay, guys, good morning to you. I gotta circle back. I did a little bit of deeper study yesterday on the death of Jimmy Buffett, okay? Because yesterday I talked to you about headlines. Maybe we're going to do that weekly. Headlines Monday. Do you like that? I was thinking about that. Maybe Mondays. Friday, we know what that is. That's question and answer Friday. But maybe Mondays we do headlines. Okay? What comes out on the weekend in health news that is worth talking about? Now, I went into a deeper dive on Jimmy Buffett, okay? And, you know, almost all of us know who Jimmy Buffett was. Very famous singer, Margaritaville, and started these chains of restaurants and resorts, Margaritaville. And he died of skin cancer. So right away, people are jumping to conclusions that, well, you see, skin cancer, the sun, stay out of it. Now, this is interesting, okay? This is very interesting because This is the type of cancer he had. He had what they call a Merkel cell, M-E-R-K-E-L, Merkel cell carcinoma. It's a skin cancer, extremely rare. But listen to this, folks. Listen to this. Okay? Vitamin D deficiency. Merkel cell carcinoma. Listen to this. Vitamin D deficiency is associated with greater tumor size and poorer outcomes in Merkel cell carcinoma. Holy moly. Isn't that what we've been saying? It's the opposite of what the world believes. The sun will kill you? No, it won't. Okay, listen to this, okay? And I'm going to just give you a little bit more on Merkel cell. Okay? And Buffett did not have melanoma. He had Merkel cell carcinoma that transitioned to lymphoma. It's a very rare it's initiated by a virus. And listen to this, okay? This is a news article. Initiated by a virus and a compromised immune system. That's the connection, my friend, to vitamin D. A compromised immune system. Now, let me give you a Swedish study, okay? And it says this, okay? I'm going to give you a recent study out of Sweden on the sun. Mortality with respect to sun exposure in Sweden, okay? So they did a major study on sun exposure in Sweden. Listen to what they say. Here's the conclusion of this study. This is fascinating, my friend. This is more than fascinating, okay? Here's what it says. We interpret this, okay, the findings of sun exposure, my tongue just got tied, suggesting that sun exposure avoidance, listen to the conclusion of this massive study, sun exposure avoidance, okay, is a risk factor for all-cause mortality of the same magnitude. Listen, Lindas. Is a risk factor for all-cause mortality of the same magnitude of smoking. Holy moly. Think about what this study is saying. If you avoid the sun, you might as well be smoking. That's what they're saying. You might as well be smoking if you're avoiding the sun. That's how dangerous it is to avoid the sun. So the very opposite that they have been preaching for 50 years, remember, it's us and them. Okay? They and them, they have been preaching, stay out of the sun. Sun will kill you. Sun will give you skin cancer. No, it doesn't. It's the opposite. Now again, if I have to do it, I'll do it every time we talk about the sun. Sun, steak, and steel. And by the way, I brought this to you. Different studies on the all-cause mortality in my book, Sun, Steak, and Steel. Now, okay? If we all know, there isn't a physician on the planet that would tell a patient to smoke anymore. Okay? It's the only memo that was put out by, the health gurus and this and that. Stop smoking. Like I tell you the story of my dad in 1962. I was 10 years old. My dad stopped smoking. I thought, like, what? What are you talking about? My dad read a study that suggested that smoking was harmful to his health, especially in cancer. And my dad stopped smoking immediately. I remember the little ceremony that he had as he threw away his cigarettes, much to the chagrin of my older brothers. I was only 10. I wasn't smoking yet. And I'll just give you some, for me, I never liked it. So I'm not saying I never stole any of my parents' cigarettes. I did. Okay? I did. But I never liked it. Hallelujah. I didn't never like smoking because all my family smoked. But my dad found out, he read an article and he said, no, it's dangerous. What? You used to tell your patients to smoke. They had a cough. Oh, you know what? You want to get rid of that? Let's have a cigarette. And my dad would share a cigarette with them. I'm not kidding you. Camel cigarettes, do they still exist? I don't know. But they used to advertise in magazines. 9 out of 10 doctors smoke Camels. I'm not kidding you. When I was a kid, in the days of Noah. But here we are today. And the studies are suggesting, for anyone that wants to be honest about it, here they say it, I'll read it to you, the headline again, at the end of this study, that a lack or avoidance of the sun is a risk factor for all-cause mortality of the same magnitude as smoking. Guys, don't you hate it when you get lied to? Don't you hate it? I hate that. I don't like people lying to me. I don't mind people having an opinion, but don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. I don't like it. Okay. Anyway, I just thought I'd circle back on that study that we talked about yesterday, the headlines of Jimmy Buffett's death. Okay? And what he had a very rare skin cancer. And when you dig into Merkel, carcinoma, it's an immune thing, starts with a virus, and if you're low in vitamin D, it takes off like a jet plane. And guys, we know better. Vitamin D, there's a war on vitamin D. And I'm telling you, we'll be lucky if the powers to be doesn't try and outlaw vitamin D, that it will be behind. You'll need a prescription to get it. But you'll never need a prescription, my friend, to get out in the sun. Okay? It really upsets me when I see the forces. I call them the forces of evil. Big pharma, big food, politicians, social media, and they combine and they start a narrative and they just double down. And people are like sheep which have gone astray. People just don't even think. If the government says it, must be true. Not so much. Not so much. There's a war on vitamin D. There's a war on the sun because it's too simplistic for them. There's no money in it. And so Sun, you know what they said? I read an article, I think it was the New York Post yesterday. Sun-drenched Jimmy Buffett. Sun-drenched. Apparently, I never met the guy. Apparently, it was just the opposite. Even though he used to sing about the sun and having margaritas and cocktails, he didn't go in the sun a lot. Okay? Now, I don't know that for a fact. I just read the article. But here was the headline. Sun-drenched Jimmy Buffett dies. Sun-drenched. What were they doing? Scaring people skinny about the sun. Okay, let's get to some other headlines. Unless you think the only thing I can talk about is vitamin D. Okay, we can talk about other things. Now, I got to give you this one because, man, this is powerful, guys. You ready for this one? Number 2, okay? And this number 2 one, okay? This is the article, this is the headline. Is Goliath in autism about to fall? Okay, that's the headline. Is Goliath in autism about to fall? The new study cements findings that autism has environmental rather than genetic causes. Okay, now, you and I know a lot more about autism than I did a long time ago. Okay? In the 70s is the first time I even heard about autism. Late 70s, I remember the day I was at a meeting in Toronto and one of my colleagues talked to me about autism. I just about, you know me, I use the word passed out. I was shocked. I hadn't heard about it. And he had 2 sons that were autistic. What? What's that? And he gave me a pretty good, at the time, explanation of what autism was. I didn't even know it existed. Okay? Does that mean it didn't exist before? Well, it was extremely rare. And now it's what? 1 out of 20, 1 out of 19, 1 out of kids born are autistic? The headline, okay? The headline, is Goliath in autism about to fall? Wow. Man, that caught my attention. And here's what they say, okay? In case you think, like I know I look weird. I know I talk weird at times, okay? But I'm not that weird, okay? Why am I saying that? Because what I have been telling you all along, guys, I've been preaching this for 40 years. What is autism? Is it genetic? Absolutely not. Is it genes gone astray? No, because that's what medicine says it is. And they never took into consideration, when I say they never took into consideration, okay, why is it getting, 1,000 times worse than it used to be? Why? I'm a why guy. Why is that happening? Well, here's why. And here's what they're saying. In a meta-analysis study, you know what meta-analysis means? Meta, looking at lots of studies. So they looked at lots of studies, and they said medicine, when it comes to autism, is looking for love in all the wrong places. They're looking at genetics. They're looking at genes when they should be looking, here's what they're saying, at leaky gut. Holy moly. Because they said environmental, but here's what they meant. Let me read to you. Okay? A meta-analysis of 25 studies on autism, the research ties this disorder to changes, listen, Linda, listen, to changes in the gut microbiome. Okay? The research ties this disorder to changes in the gut microbiome, study published in Nature Neuroscience on June 26th. Now, I've seen other studies that were similar to this. And that's why I talked to you about it. But at the Martin Clinic, I saw a lot of autistic kids. Lots of autistic kids. A sad finding. I saw it. And listen to what this study goes on to say. There is a distinct microbial signature in these kids that's dysbiotic. Now, leave it to medicine to complicate it, but this is what it means, okay? When they look at an autistic child and they analyze the microbiome, you know what they found? They found that these children had dysbiosis. What's that mean? They had a signature that was common with all of them, suggesting they had dysbiosis, which means, okay, here's dysbiosis in a nutshell. You got more bad guys than good guys. You got trillions of bacteria in their gut. Children, babies, even in the placenta. They share the placenta with mommy, but they got billions and billions of bacteria in there. And when they take the signature of this microbiome, they found they got a lot more bad guys than good guys compared to non-autistic children. Isn't that something? Isn't that significant? And here's what they said. Okay? Part of the article. Okay? Toxic environment contributes to the microbiome. But here's what they said. I like it because when you think of toxins, and when I think of toxins, you're thinking of plastics. Yep. Mount Everest I brought you a study, didn't I? It's in breast milk of mamas. Plastic. It's everywhere. Go to Costa Rica. It don't matter. You got plastic. It's everywhere. It's in the oceans. It's on the mountains. And it's in the placentas. And it's in mommy's breast milk. You can't get away from it. Okay? Environmental, you're thinking that perhaps. You're thinking all of the air fresheners and all of the, here's one that they mention even, glyphosate, okay? Fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, glyphosate, it's in food, it's in everything. Guys, they want to talk about the climate. I want to talk about the environment. There's two different things. They want to get rid of fossil fuel. I want to, as much as we can, get rid of Get rid of the stuff that's in the air, that's in our kitchens, that's in everything. That's what I'm more concerned about. I want clean water and clean air. That's what I want. I don't buy the climate stuff. I just don't. But they're going to put all their energy in that. And here we are looking at autism, and they say, well, these environmental factors have a major effect on the microbiome. But here's what else they said, and this, my friend, is the key, in my opinion. Okay? Now, I'm going to ask you, okay? I'm going to give you a quote that I quote all the time. And you guys, it's a little test. I'm giving you a little quiz to see if Linda's and Larry's are listening when I talk. What do I say? Okay, give me the answer. Okay? What do I say when I say this? Okay, what finish it off for me. The greatest discovery of the 20th century and the curse of the 21st. The greatest discovery of the 20th century and the curse of the 21st. What am I talking about? Okay, let me see. Tina, antibiotics. Annette, antibiotics. Oh, you guys are, you know what? Gertie, yeah. And Wendy, yes. And Marilyn, yes. And Georgie, yes. You guys, Sandy. Mary, you got it. Everybody's got it. Arlene, I guess you guys are listening. Cheryl, John, antibiotics. The greatest discovery. Brenda and Janice and you guys. I'm telling you, I wish you were all in the room so I could give you a big hug and high five. And Jocelyn, you're all right. You got it. Debbie and Linda. Oh, look, there's a Linda that's got it right. Susan, antibiotic. Yeah, that's the answer. Listen, this is what the study says. The studies of studies. Imagine Wanda. Yeah, listen. Okay, listen. It's in the Nature Neuroscience, June 26. And when they talk about a toxic environment, I was thinking outside the body, okay? Because that's what I thought they were going to talk about. But they said no, yes and no. Yes, toxic chemicals and blah, 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 plastics and BPA and you name it. They name it. But then they said antibiotics. Guys, you have no idea. You have no idea how that pumped my tires. Because for 40 years, I've been saying that. It's leaky gut. And these little children, they are canaries in the coal mine. And mommy, or even the baby, on antibiotics, ear infections, throat infections. Mommy had an infection the year before or whatever, she got pregnant. And, maybe a bladder infection or a sinus infection. And I don't blame people. You got an infection, you take an antibiotic. I get it. I understand that. I never tell people not to take an antibiotic. But you got to fix the damage of antibiotics. And guys, you know that. I've been consistent about that. Every autoimmune disease, this is what autism is. It's autoimmune. Their little bodies. Their body's immune system turns on itself because of leaky gut. And toxins that enter the bloodstream and you get leaky gut, the number one cause, it's not the environment, it's antibiotics. The greatest discovery of the 20th century has become the curse of the 21st. The curse of the 21st. They said it. I almost passed out. They said it. Yeah, antibiotics. They're a major factor. Why? Because they disrupt the microbiome. They cause a dysbiosis. Remember, you got a good army, you got a bad army, and then you got the Trojan horse. You'll learn it at the Martin Clinic. You'll learn it at the Doctor's In podcast. Here's what you learn. You need a balance between good and bad. You got two armies, good bacteria, bad bacteria, okay? And they live in harmony with each other as long as there's enough good guys. They're in harmony. They look at each other. But they don't fight. They're like siblings. Okay? No, siblings fight. No. But they look at each other. You know? And that gets disrupted. Nothing disrupts the microbiome of your body, especially your gut. Antibiotics. They wipe out good bacteria. They wipe it out. In 5 days, it's gone. You know what happens? Dysbiosis. Yeah. But even more than that. You have an invasion of a third army. The Trojan horse gets in and unleashes an army of yeast or fungus. And that's what we see in autism. That's what I used to try and fix. In autism, in MS, in Parkinson's, in Sjogren's, in psoriasis, in eczema, in lung disorders, you name it. Rheumatoid arthritis, yada, yada, yada. Leaky gut. And in autism, think about it. Leaky gut, leaky brain. I've been preaching that for years. You have to fix the microbiome. And you know, every pregnancy, the physician, the family doctor, the nurse practitioner, whoever, should be telling every, and by the way, only women can get pregnant, okay? I'm sorry if I've offended anyone. Yikes. Never thought at my age I'd ever be talking silly like that. But when a woman is pregnant, the physician should be handing out, yeah, you do your prenatals. You know what should be part of a prenatal? Is a probiotic, for heaven's sakes. It should be standard. And vitamin D, standard. For baby, for mama and baby. They should be, you know, you're in the office and they're going, here's your prenatal. And you're taking probiotics. Like people used to ask me all the time, Doc, what should I do? Well, you need to take probiotics, 100%. You want to protect you and the baby. Guys, I've been consistent about that. Consistent about that. You're not going to get me off of that. And the more they research it, I mean, we're into 2023 now. And autism has been spiraling out of control for years. And when you allow big pharma, they take over everything. They take over depression. We'll talk about that. There's a new headline on it. They take over any medical condition. They take it over and they go, okay, we're going to find a drug. And guys, I've been talking to you for years about how they've been a colossal failure in Alzheimer's. You know where else they've been a colossal failure? Autism. Colossal. Colossal. And you know what they didn't mention in this study, okay? What they didn't mention, and in my opinion, they should have, because if they would have looked at this, it's proportionately, it's a factor, and that is a C-section. Because in a C-section, baby don't get that bacteria going through the birth canal like it should. Oh, Dr. Martin, you're exaggerating. No, I'm not. Because I've been saying that for a long time. Read books that I wrote years ago, and you'll see me talking about that. Because people always wanted to blame autism on genetics or vaccines or whatever. And I said, well, that's not the initial cause. It's not. It's not. It's leaky gut, my friend. It's leaky gut. Mummy, baby. Mummy, baby. I almost fell over when I read about, as soon as it said environmental, I said, okay, I mean, I don't disagree with that. There's certainly a factor. And I never thought they would talk about medications like antibiotics. It floored me. I didn't even get to the other headlines. We might have to do headline week because I got some more headlines. I had to circle back on Jimmy Buffett. I just had to. Yesterday I went into a deeper dive. I said, I got to really find out what there's, I already knew what they were saying, but I wanted to find out more about this rare cancer that he got that turned into lymphoma. And it all had to do with his immune system and low levels of vitamin D. Okay. My watch is telling me to breathe. No, it isn't, because I don't wear a watch that tells me to breathe. Because if it did, if I wore one, it would tell me to breathe. Oh, I get excited. Okay, guys. You guys, my audience, every time I give you a test, I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you honorary degrees in natural medicine. How's that? Honorary degrees. You guys are unbelievably smart. Okay? You know the answers. Okay, guys. Yeah, I think we'll continue with tomorrow. I think we will continue with these studies because there's a few more interesting ones. There really is. Or news headlines that came out. Okay, guys. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.